Ezinne agreed to attend the church with Mrs. Abraham. The small church was humble, but the faith of the congregation was strong. The service was filled with prayers, songs, and the hopeful voices of people seeking miracles. During the prayer section, the pastor, an older man with gentle eyes, called Ezinne forward. He placed his hand on her head and began to pray. After several minutes, he opened his eyes and spoke words that left Ezinne reeling. Your stomach is not what you think it is. It is a spiritual bathroom, a place where someone, a powerful wizard, comes to bath. This person is feeding off your energy, your life force. He has cursed you, drawing life from your body to sustain himself. This curse is also affecting your family. As long as this continues, none of you will find peace or success. Ezinne was speechless. The explanation was beyond anything she could have imagined. But how do I fight something like that? She whispered, tears filling her eyes. The pastor gave her a kind smile. You can fight it through prayer and fasting. Every night, from midnight to 3 a.m., you must pray. This is a time when the wizard comes to bath. If you pray with faith and determination, you will break the curse. You will know the curse is breaking when you receive a phone call from someone who has never called you before. That will be the sign that your prayers are working. Ezinne left the church with renewed hope, but also fear. The idea that her suffering was caused by dark magic was terrifying. But she knew she had no choice but to fight. Determined to reclaim her life, Ezinne began her prayer sections that very night. From midnight to 3 a.m., she knelt by her bed, pouring out her heart to God. Her prayers were filled with tears and desperation, but also hope. She prayed for strength, for deliverance, and for the curse to be broken. Each night, the hours seemed to drag on, and by the seventh night, Ezinne was exhausted physically and emotionally. She had not yet received any sign of change. Was it all for nothing? Just before dawn on the seventh day, her phone rang. Startled, Ezinne picked up the phone without checking the caller ID. The voice on the other end was familiar, yet impossible. Ezinne, my daughter, how are you? It was her father's voice, but he had never called her before. He didn't even own a phone. Papa, is that you? She asked, her heart racing. Yes, I borrowed a phone from Papa Jude. I wanted to check if you are sleeping well. Ezinne felt a chill run down her spine. The phrase echoed in her mind. Check if you are sleeping well. It was an odd thing for her father to say, especially since he had never shown much concern for her before. Something wasn't right. After the call ended, Ezinne sat in bed, unable to sleep. Her mind raced as she recalled the pastor's warning. Her father had never borrowed a phone to call her before. Why now, after so many years? And why was he suddenly concerned about her sleep? The next morning, Ezinne rushed back to the church. She poured out everything to the pastor, telling him about the strange phone call and the uneasy feeling in her chest. The pastor listened carefully, his face growing serious. The battle has just begun, he said quietly. Your father is not who he seems. He is the wizard who has been feeding off your life. He is the one responsible for your suffering, your brother's failures, and your mother's death. He has been using you as a source of power, and now that you are breaking free, he is trying to stop you. Ezinne's world collapsed. The man she has trusted and loved all her life was behind her pain and misery. The pastor's words were like a knife to her heart. But why would he do this to us? She asked, tears streaming down her face. Your father has a family in another realm, a dark realm. You and your brothers were never meant to succeed. Your mother was sacrificed for his longevity, and now he wants to take your life as well. Ezinne's leg gave way beneath her, and she collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Everything made sense now. Her mother's mysterious death, her brother's constant struggles, and her own cursed existence. It all led back to her father. As Ezinne struggled to comprehend the horrifying truth, the pastor knelt beside her and spoke gently. You still have the power to fight this. You have already weakened him with your prayers, but you must be vigilant. Soon, he will try to summon you to the village. Do not go. If you see him face to face, he will steal your life force. He will live, but you will die. Whatever you do, do not return to the village. Ezinne was terrified but resolute. She knew her life and the future of her family depended on her staying strong. The pastor prayed with her once more, and she left the church feeling both burdened and empowered. As the days passed, Ezinne's fears began to come true. She received a phone call from the village, a relative informing her that her father was gravely ill. He is asking for you, they said. You must come and see him before it's too late. Ezinne's heart ached with guilt and confusion. Despite everything she had learned, this was still the man who had raised her. Could she really refuse to see him in his final moments? She wanted to believe that perhaps, even now, there was good in him. But the pastor's warning echoed in her mind. Do not go. If you see him, you will die. The calls from the village intensified over the next few days.